Hi friends, this is Terry Squires with Today's Nashville. I sat down with music artist Joy Holden, and she shared about her loss, grief, and depression, and how God has encouraged her to move forward to encourage others. You won't want to miss her episode. Is grief holding you back from living life? Take the hand of Jesus and let Him lead you forward to a new beginning. Grief, loss, and depression hasn't stopped what God was calling music artist Joy Holden to do. During the making of her albums, she experienced extreme grief. The death of her dad after a long struggle with Alzheimer's disease, and her niece diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. The death of her cousin, but she continues to press forward, encouraging and opening the hearts of others with God's love. This is her story. This is Today's Nashville. This is Faith. Joy, what a pleasure it is to have you. I'm so excited to hear about your story. Welcome to Today's Nashville.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to be with you today, Terry.
Well, I want to hear all about you, how you got started, and so let's go back.
Okay. We go back several years. But I grew up listening to the Carpenters, and as a little girl, hearing Karen Carpenter play the drums and sing, I thought, that's what I want to do.
Were you from Nashville?
No, I'm a small town in South Carolina.
Okay.
But they were on a television show, and then years later, I traveled with bands and toured and did a show called Star Search back in the day.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Okay, back up. I went real fast.
The Carpenters inspired you.
Absolutely.
So were you always singing as a young girl, and did you sing in school? And
yes, and there was something about the melancholy sound and richness of Karen's voice. I know a lot of times it sounds sad, but that just really touched my heart. And then I grew up singing in the church.
Okay.
So that's the connection with gospel, and then just hearing different kind of arrangements came from listening to things like the Carpenters and some other 80s and 70s type of influences.
Well, were you a believer then
Yes.
at a young age? Tell me about that.
Okay. I asked the Lord to come into my heart when I was 9 years old. I remember thinking clearly, as all little children do, that I didn't want to just do that to be popular because all the kids were going down the aisle at a certain age, that I wanted Jesus in my heart. And later at a youth rally, I did it again because I was a little bit older, had a little bit more maturity, and I thought there's more to it. There's a discipleship side, which is what I've really had to work on as an adult. Because, a lot of people are still newbie Christians for a long, long time, for decades and decades, and they don't seem to advance into discipleship and building that full relationship with the Lord.
That's so true.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that are saying they're Christian and they don't know the Lord.
Right.
They don't have that personal relationship with them. So your teenage years, uneventful?
No, well, I liked a little bit of rock and roll music. And so my parents would say, yes, uneventful, except I wanted to sing rock music, and that was not appropriate. because my father said to me, I don't want you singing in bars. And I'm like, Dad, I'm not into drinking, I'm not into bars. He said, but that's where you have to sing that kind of music. And I was so young and naive, I didn't realize that was the truth. And so I started singing at church and doing that as well. And then I started doing country music, which I found a little bit more closer to that flavor of gospel. And you feel it deep in your soul sometimes.
Did you know during your teenage years and older that this is where I'm going to go? Or were you thinking about doing a different career, or was music it?
That is a great question, because I've had a couple of different careers. But always, plan A, heart of hearts, my passion was music, period. And I've gone into different fields. I was project manager at a big tire company called Michelin, which competes with your Bridgestone up here in Nashville. But I really enjoyed that, but it's still helping others and helping people to be inspired to achieve something. So as time went on, I gained a ton of weight and was just a very, very large person, but more than that, that didn't matter what I looked like on the outside. It was the way I felt on the inside. And that's when I got on my knees to the Lord, and I'm like, Lord, help me walk through this journey, because I don't feel pretty, I don't feel seen, I don't know what God wants to do with this, because I want to sing. And God assured me, it doesn't matter what you look like, that you can do this. And he put me on a program, and I lost the weight and gained confidence and was able to really start giving back without worrying about what I was like in my own skin, and think about becoming a vessel for the Lord.
Now, this was older years too, but
Yes.
You went on Star Search.
Yes.
How old were you then?
Probably about 25-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. And went to Charlotte, North Carolina.
What was that like?
It was amazing. So we did all the video shoots. Now, what happened when we got through to the next round, and it was with my group, Holden, with some songs I had written, and they cut out the vocal band category at that time. So Ed McMahon was still there, and they said, we're sorry, we're not having this category anymore. So it just ended like that. It was just real quick. So it was heartbreaking. God had other things in mind.
So where did he take you from there?
He took me into the workplace. I worked in a public school system, worked with little children. I worked with 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. And I said, okay, I'm going to go back to school and get a teaching degree. That will make my daddy happy. Won't be doing any of trying to do the music stuff. And it did make my heart happy. But I yearned and yearned for something more. So I went back to college a couple of times and got all my education finished up, but always came back to music. And it was around 40-ish, I sat down at the piano and I said, God, what do you want to do with me? And I started writing for Christ and have not stopped.
Age 40. Now, you've gone through a lot of struggles.
Yes.
Your dad, did he have Alzheimer's, is that?
Yes.
Did he have that while you were growing up or as you got older?
It was as I got older, but it was a long-term Alzheimer's diagnosis. And he was the provider for the family. So he took care of Mom, he took care of the bills, and he was just our safety net in our family. Godly man, read the scriptures, and I love to get out his old Bible and just see some of the things he marked. And I used to say, people will find this funny, I never wanted to be like my daddy. The older I get, everybody's like, you're like your daddy, and I'm like so happy that I am. I'm going to be like
But that was a big loss for you.
It was. It really was. And it was the first time I had watched somebody truly up close and personal take their last breath. So one of my first big songs, I wrote it the day after the funeral. It's called Jesus is Holding You. I didn't write it to record Terry. I wrote it just to process what grief I was going through. And started singing it, and I thought, oh, I need to record this. But I realized one of the things Daddy would do is he would say, Joy, I'm lost. Can you take me home? I don't know where I am. And, and that's hard for us because we're still thinking in, I'll call it a normal way. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'm lost. I want you to take me home. And I would put him in the car and drive him up to Ingalls, turn around, bring him right back home. And he would say, thank you so much, darling, for bringing me home. And his face would light up. So it's like a reset button.
That is precious. And so going through that, and then going through some other things that we're going to talk about, yes, and how God has turned your life around, starting at the age of 40, and we are going to talk about it all when we come back.
That sounds wonderful.
Joy, you have faced a lot of grief in your life. You just lost your dad with Alzheimer's, but as I read about your story, it was one after the other after the other. Let's talk about it.
My niece was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer just shortly after my dad's death, and still in her 30s, mother of 3. And
that had to have been a shock to everybody.
It was a shock, and we couldn't believe it. And I just remember looking out the window, and this was during 2020. I had started writing a song just kind of for myself, kind of like my dad. She was so brave, and she was always smiling on the outside, always. But I thought, she's not smiling on the inside. And we had a chat at the hospital, and sure enough, I'd already penned those words. And she said, I'm smiling on the outside. And that really hit me, and so I wrote a song talking about how, being terrified, being scared of this. And then
what's the name of the song?
Smiling Inside. And, not until she takes that step into the arms of Jesus is she smiling inside. There's a video out there. I encourage anybody that's going through a rough doctor's diagnosis or anything to realize that person, you love them, and gosh, it hurts, but they're okay. They're in the arms of the Lord. I mean, they're in the kingdom of heaven, streets of gold, everything's amazing. They wouldn't come back if they could. And at the kind of right before she passed, 2020 happened. And starting with all this, what is this COVID stuff? What's going on with the world? Her diagnosis was worse. This is truly terminal. She doesn't have long. And I remember thinking, the world is falling down on me. I can't carry this. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. And then the song says, as a matter of fact, I don't want to carry it all. And God laid it on my heart that He will carry it all. He will carry that. That doesn't mean that I won't have hurt and I won't miss her and long for her, but that there is hope after the fact, and she's okay. And one of the things that strikes me, I have a t-shirt, and it's in a cross word cloud, and it says, as a matter of fact, He will carry it all. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you struggling? And people have come up to me, like in a store. For example, when I go to buy my Skittles or my candy at a local store, people have said, what does that shirt say? And where did you get it? And it dawned on me, Terry, that yes, we advertise with our music very little, but it's how we walk in everyday life.
That's so true.
Just going to the store to buy candy that people are observing us. And then that shirt was a conversation starter. And that girl wanted to get the shirt. She said, I've been far away from the Lord. And I mean, that's something I didn't even tie with Nicole's death or illness. And I thought, wow, how powerful that this continues.
You're reaching so many other people, but you continue to lose people in your life. What was going through your mind when everyone was leaving and passing?
Yeah, one of my favorite aunt died like the year in between my dad and Nicole, and I'm like,
did you ever question God? What is going on?
yeah. I mean, honestly, why? You ask why? Why God? Why her? Or why not me? And you can't make those kind of negotiations or deals, but I was okay with that because I knew that she was a Christian. We worked together when she was a little girl and got saved, and I knew where she was. Now, it doesn't mean it's easy, but I have so much assurance and so much belief that that's where she is. That's how I get through each day.
And your music. Let's talk about your music. 40 years old, God calls you to the piano, and you start where you want to be.
I had just built a new house, and I had a small piano, baby grand, brought in. You know, before you put rugs down and it's still hardwood and a high ceiling, and I played the first chords, and tears just poured down my face because it was so beautiful. And I thought, this is just a gift from God. Music touches me in that way. And I wrote a song, As Long As You Breathe, and God started just like a faucet. I started writing songs like crazy, and I thought, what are you doing, Lord? I have a full-time job over here. I'm a has-been. My time is over. And I will tell you, when you get to a certain age, you think, God's done with me. The best has already come. I can tell you that's not true.
I believe that.
The
We are to
best
keep
is yet to
going
come.
until
Yes, ma'am.
you're called home.
Yes. So we worked on these songs. I went into the studio with no big plan, not trying to really go to radio or play live or anything. And God intervened, and some folks from Nashville got a hold of it, called me, said, come up here.
Now, when was this?
This was about 9 years ago.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And, you know, we knew each other, sort of. You're only just, what, 1 or 2 people away from somebody. And the man asked me, we met at, a matter of fact, I was telling the folks in the car that I said, Donaldson Pike is where I met at a Waffle House, Monty Allen. And Monty played with Alan Jackson, and he's from my hometown. And we came up here and did some recording. And the Lord opened those doors, and, you know, it takes a long time to chart on radio, a really long time. And a song off my first album charted.
What song was it?
It's called Underwater. And then Jesus Is Holding You, that I've mentioned about my dad. That charted really well. And I am a nobody with no plan, no record company, and it's because the songs, I think, were genuine and meaningful, and I mean, they're just from my heart. And
do you write all your songs?
I don't write all of them. I enjoy writing, but I can't be under pressure to, oh, Joy, you need to crank out 20 songs today. I'm not that kind of writer. It's when the lyrics come, or you sit down, like I said, at the piano, and just a message or a melody comes to you that you really want to do that and see where it goes.
What song touches your heart the most that you've written?
Terry, that is unfair. That is unfair. When they tell you it's truly like children, it's like children. The one off this new album that we recorded is called By a Thread. And I have felt recently, past 2 years, like I'm literally hanging on by a thread. And it's just through the words that Jesus said that he gets me through that. And just having some depression, some anxiety, working in the workplace. My mom now has dementia. I am her caregiver. I just became overwhelmed. And trying to have a full-time job singing ministry is also full-time. I just felt like I was letting everybody down. But now when I sing that, I sang it at a church Sunday, and people were just moved because that's what they're going through. It's my story is not special. It's just relatable.
It is. And we're going to listen to one of your songs when we come back.
Thank you.
Joy, tell me about the song you're going to sing.
Yes, it's called Victory Once More, and wrote it with Tony Wood and Barry Weeks, and it talks about some of the trials that you and I have been talking about. When you're in those valleys, you're not always at the mountaintop, but that victory is coming very soon. So it's not about a one and done. It's continuous. Hope you like it.
I'm sure I will.
This road is familiar, it's weary and long. I'm tired of pretending that I'm always so strong. Once more I am facing the fears that I've known. I'm not forsaken, no, I'm not alone. This is my hope that helps me press on. This is my strength when my strength's almost gone. My God is faithful, He's mighty and able. He's carried me through this before. I know I'm getting closer to victory, victory once more. There will be green pastures when this journey ends. He's surely been there, and He'll be there again. This is a hope that helps me press on. This is my strength when my strength's almost gone. My God is faithful, He's mighty and able. He's carried me through this before. I know I'm getting closer, closer to victory once more. I'm gonna trust Him through the questions and the pain. My eyes will stay on Him and forever praise His name, His holy name. This is my hope that helps me press on. This is my strength when my strength's almost gone. Our God is faithful, He's mighty and able. Carried me through this before. I know I'm getting closer to victory. I know I'm getting closer, so much closer. I know I'm getting closer to victory, victory once more. Victory once more. Victory once more.
I love it. It's beautiful. Thank you for singing it for me. Joy, where is God taking you now? Where are you going to be, and what is He doing in your life?
He's opened up some incredible doors. We're getting out and going to be able to perform at a lot of neat and fun places, but it's always those small churches that we gravitate towards, but I can tell you some of the highlights.
Well, we have 1 minute left. What do you want to say to somebody listening to you to give them a word of encouragement?
I would say, give yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're beating yourself up for something the Lord's already forgiven you for. Lean to Him, and He will be your friend for life. That's what I would say.
Joy, thank you. Thank you. Beautiful song. Many blessings to you.
Thank you so much, Terry. We've enjoyed it.
Thank you. My friend, are you hanging on a thread? Like Joy said, a victory is very close. Hang on to Jesus. He's going to take you there. This is Today's Nashville. This is Faith.
Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.